Hey, Facebook Live. I wanted to come into this space just a little bit early. I have an event scheduled with Karen, and I hope I pronounce her name correctly, Karen von Krenner. That event is going to be on March 13th, 2021. And Karen and I have just this weird way that we met, but we are going into the troubled waters of race, council culture, political correctness, and all of these things that are happening, just to name a few. So first of all, we hope that you join us on that day. But I woke up this morning with this unction that I had to ask this white lady a question. Like, is it okay that I even call you a white lady? You are white, right?
Am I?
You look white to me.
Do I look white? What is white? What does white look like to you? Is it white like a sheet of paper? Is that white? In that case, am I white?
Well, I learned in school that there's differences with people and we are separated by our race, and you are classified by what my history taught me as a white woman. You are white. I mean,
What? Okay, your history taught you that I was white. I would question that right there, that very statement. I would say, okay, education. Again, you look at me and I look at you, and I ask some friends of mine, very close friends, these questions, and they are a mixed couple. And I ask them, what color are your children? And therein lies your conundrum. What color is that child? It's a mixed race child.
don't they
So,
call that mulatto?
yes, but by using that, you're using something that was definitely in the history. That is a creation of the slavery, and that was for ownership. So my next question is, if you say you're a mulatto or any level thereof, are you claiming back that slavery title that was put on Black Americans to say how much they were worth? Or are you just a human being and your kid is a human being? Or are you going to label them with that burden of a history that put a cost to the percentage of their blood?
Okay, like, lady, you are confusing me. Like, I just want to get to the point that, like, so you're not a white lady. Is that what you're saying? That you're not?
But nobody is. Okay. You can classify me that way from the way you look at me, but does that deny that I've got Hispanic in me? Does that deny I've got a few other things in me? So which part of me am I supposed to deny here when you say that?
Um, well, I guess I'm just trying to get to know who you are. Like, I met you just on a by chance, you know. We both was at an event with Dr. Sam Collins, and then we connected some kind of way through LinkedIn, and we started talking. And I know you say something about, I don't know if it was you or your daddy or whomever, like they was in Watts and like in the trenches fighting for, was it Black Lives Matter, or were you fighting for justice? What were you fighting for?
I wasn't there, so I was a baby.
Oh,
So it would have been my father, and he was fighting for justice and peace.
what is justice and peace?
Ah, yes, I like that. Everybody has a different one. For it's like when you go into a beauty pageant and they ask you these standard questions, right? No, I was never in one. And one of them is the classic, what do you want to do? What's your big aim for the world? And everybody says, I want to have world peace. And I always chuckle when that happens. It's just like, what does that mean to you? World peace in Missouri? What does that mean in Missouri? World peace in Portland? What does that mean in Portland? What does peace mean in Missouri? What does peace mean in Portland? What does peace mean to you, Carmen? What does peace mean to me? I mean, it's just so out there
Wow.
that if we don't ask each other, literally, what do we mean? We can be on different planets.
Oh. So I guess you're open to talking to people and stuff. So you remind me a lot of this chick. Yeah, I called her a chick. She's a pastor too. And she's a mentor to me. Like she's traveled all over the world, like all over the world. And I'm sorry I called you a white lady, but you know, I was trying to put a point there. But this woman traveled all over the world like you. And part of your story, you told me how you have been to Asia, Europe, all over. You know people all over, and you have been advocating all over. Can you, because this is just a precursor, we're not going to give it all to them. Why don't you get caught up in labels and advocating just for one person or one group? Why you fight for justice for all? Because you are fighting. I mean, you fighting for justice, but you're not getting caught up in specific labels or letting people divide you. What's up with that? You know, advocate. Can I call you an advocate lady? Since I call you a white lady, can I call you an advocate lady?
Oh, and these days, even gender becomes a new conversation.
Girl.
Oh, so yes, I have literally grown up around the world, everywhere. I mean, the longest I've been in one place is Portland, Oregon. So I am a single mom of 2 boys, absolutely love them to death, proud as hell of them, and they are 2 completely separate individuals in their processes. They grew up around the world too. So let me see, I started out as a journalist back in the day when, we had press cards and things, and we were duck and dive under the bombs. And a journalist's primary directive is to be neutral. You do not get involved. You go there, you cover the facts, you observe, you write the facts, your editor gets a hold of it, and you stay neutral. And I am a writer, heart and soul. I knew when I was 5 that this is what I wanted to be and do. But I did it for some time, a couple of years, went through my usual revolutions. I went through Asia, started in Asia, in the Philippines, moved across into other countries, including China, and then ended up in Middle East, where I spent most of my time. And I stopped being neutral. I was just like, I saw things and I'm like, yes, this is my job. I am doing my job. But I started to get involved. I would see a family or I'd see children or I'd see something and I'm just like, it started small, get on the truck, we're going to help you, or here's some food. I mean, stuff that are just your human impulse that you can't not do almost. But then things become so many, so overwhelming, so huge that we just sort of shut down a little and we just, I'm doing my job. I keep going because there's only so much pain you can take for a while. But for me, it broke through and I was like, okay, I can't take this much pain. I have to get down and I have to try to figure something out about this. And that's kind of my focus went into women and children and how crossing borders is such a massive issue on so many levels, whether it's legal, whether it's human, whether it's political. And that just got my focus really going is, if there's a crisis or something, if somebody is in severe fear, their life, their children, and there's this invisible line there that on one side, there's a possibility of hope and freedom and safety, but on this invisible side of the line, and it literally can be across the street, my life is being destroyed. And I'm like, okay, I want to work where that line, that invisible line is. I want to figure out how to erase it, or at least make a bridge across it. And that's how I crossed into the law and became a legal advocate. And that's kind of what I do. And that just means that I have to be able to, and I'm not a saint, I challenge myself all the time, is to just close my eyes. Literally, I will close my eyes and listen to what they're saying and try to understand. I never will completely, but I will try. And as a legal advocate, I realized that I could provide solutions. For example, I would say, here's A, B, and C scenario. A is the easiest and C is the hardest. And if they said, I want C, it wasn't my place to question because I didn't know why. It was my place to walk with them
Is
and just keep trying.
is that why you got in the intersection like we strangers? Like we don't know each other outside of what? This is our second, I think, Zoom call, like Zoom call. We don't know each other. Is that why you got into the intersection with me? Like, why did you pull up and say, I got to get to know this girl? Something's afoot. Why? Why me? Why?
I like that you challenged from the very beginning, but you also challenge with an open heart. And to me, that's the beginning of a conversation that ripples on. If I can talk to you and I can hear you and I can be challenged by you, that means I'm a better person and I can maybe talk to somebody else better than I talked before I met you. So
Wow.
I'm learning from you by listening to you and being challenged by you.
Wow. Strangers really teach each other. Iron does sharpen iron. Before we started this, like we're diving into our passion and trying to have this conversation because it's important to us and we have no clue of where this conversation is going. But let's close this out with this. I showed you a picture that I made as I was saying, hey Karen, we got to talk today and introduce the world like before we slam them on the 13th with what I don't think they're gonna be able to eat right away. And I showed you this picture and I had took like our pictures off the event from the 13th. And then I put like Black Lives Matter. I put Proud Boys. I put racism. I put prejudice. What else did I put? I put a lot of different words up there. How did that make you feel? Like, what did you think seeing that as we are like preparing for, I think, some of our greatest work?
I liked your basic words. I questioned your Proud Boys, and I loved your answer when you said it's balancing the above Black Lives Matter of, how far right or left can we go? I loved that answer. Because like I said, my first question is why the Proud Boys? Why pick that particular group? So I loved your answer, and it was like, wow, okay, yeah, I really like that. What if? And that's just everything. What if? What
Pony
if?
up. You said what if? You also said pony up. Like, what you mean when you say pony up? Because I know what I mean when I say pull up.
Oh,
What is
okay.
pony up?
You got time for a quick story?
Come on, tell me the story and then we'll end with your story. Because everybody got a pony up.
Okay. When I was little, I was told a story, and it was about a father and his two sons. And his two kids really, really wanted a pony. They threw a fit. They wanted a pony so bad, both of them. So the father finally gave in one day and he says, okay, come with me, come outside. So the boys follow him, and there's this huge barn, and they're getting all super excited. A barn, this is a good thing. And he opens the door. The father slides open that huge door. And the two boys stand there and go, huh? Because from the bottom to the top, the barn was full of manure. So the boys look at each other. The father walks away. One of the sons looks at that and stomps away, and he says, oh my God, this is, no, what is this? What is this? And takes off, all upset and in a fury. And the other boy stands there and looks at this, and he thinks and he thinks and he thinks. And then he dashes off and goes to the shed And his father says, "What are you doing?" And the boy says, "I'm looking for a shovel." And the father says, "Why are you looking for a shovel?" And the boy says, "Because underneath that pile of manure, there's got to be a pony somewhere." I dig for the pony.
Pony up.
So what if there is a pony under there?
And you willing to go into the manure. And I'm willing to go into the manure with you. Pony up.
Let's get our shovel.
This is Karen Von Krenner, Missouri World. She has decided to take the stage with Carmen and to do what no one else is willing to do. Start a conversation toward real healing, where we're going to challenge each other in your face so that we can reconcile. We promise that no conversation will end with us angry at each other.
No, not going to happen.
We will see you guys on the 13th. Bye-bye.